Hey guys, everything new under the sun here. This is an article from Zero Hedge, and it's about the Rothschilds, however you pronounce that. If you know about conspiracy and global elite and those sorts of people, that name is obviously familiar to you. Lord Rothschild, this is the greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world. He's speaking about all the money printing that's occurring and the increase in the stock market, record highs, even though global growth is stagnant and even decreasing, and the world economy is in recession, and it's slowing down. 2 months ago, the bond manager of what was once the world's biggest bond fund had a dire prediction about how all of this will end. Janus Capital, there's a tweet here. Gross global yields lowest in 500 years of history. 10 trillion of negative rate bonds. This is a supernova that will explode one day, and sooner rather than later. It's inevitable. It's just a question of when. Now, it is the turn of another financial icon, if from a vastly different legacy and pedigree, that of Rothschild Investment Trust Chairman himself, Lord Jacob Rothschild, who appears to be the latest entrant to the bearish billionaire club. And Zero Hedge obviously makes an interesting comment. This is the kind of the last person you'd think, if these guys were really controlling the world, why is he coming out and basically saying such dire things about the economy when it's his club apparently that wants to keep it propped up. We are surprised to find this summary of recent events downright gloomy and certainly non-conforming with a stock market manipulated by central bankers, as it may be trading at all-time highs. Here are the excerpts from what he said. The 6 months under review have seen central bankers continuing what is surely the greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world. We are therefore in uncharted waters, and it is possible to predict the unintended consequences of very low interest rates, and indeed negative interest rates in many countries. With some 30% of global government debt at negative yields, combined with quantitative easing, money printing on a massive scale. To date, they've never done this before. The central banks have never went this far to print money out of thin air, which is completely worthless, and prop up the economy, prop up the stock market specifically, and have the result being that there's zero economic growth, even decreasing economic growth is slowing down. To date, at least in stock market terms, the policy has been successful with market near high, while volatility on the whole has remained low, so that's a win for the central banks. Nearly all classes of investment have been boosted by the rising monetary tide. Meanwhile, growth remains anemic and weak demand and deflation in many parts of the developed world. Basically, he's saying the fundamentals of the economy are not there, yet the stock market goes up. That's because of all the money printing. Many of the risks which I underlined in my 2015 statement remain. Indeed, the geopolitical situation has deteriorated. Rumors of war. With the UK having voted to leave the European Union, the presidential election in the US in November is likely to be unusually fraught, so that's going to cause a lot of instability in the markets. While the situation in China remains opaque, they are slowing down their economy overall. Their production, manufacturing is slowing down. They are not consuming as much oil. That's why there's a big glut of oil right now. And the slowing down of economic growth will surely lead to problems. Conflict in the Middle East. Jerusalem is a burdensome stone, and you have the Iran-Syria problem. Saudi Arabia, and is unlikely to be resolved for many years, he figures. We have already felt the consequences of this in France, Germany, and the USA in terrorist attacks. As a result, Rothschild has put his money where his mouth is. We have reduced our exposure from 55% to 44%. Our sterling exposure was significantly reduced over the period to 34%, and currently stands at approximately 25%. We increased gold and precious metals to 8% by the end of June. So if anybody knows what's happening, it's probably these big bankers and the apparent club members, the Rothschilds, and what's the other guys? The Burgers. I forgot what the other name is. But anyways, these guys apparently they're moving into precious metals because they think something is going to happen with the fiat currency. If they hold fiat currency or investments, they think the stock market is going to crash. And so they're hedging their bets by buying precious metals. That's effectively what they're doing, because that historically has been the wealth preservation technique when you see an economic crash coming. This is a big guy, a big investor, a big name as well, not just an investor, but a big name moving to precious metals because he sees an economic crash coming. Big, significant news, guys. Everybody is saying, not only is the Bible saying that an economic crash is likely coming, I think that's what it's saying. All the big investors, the big money guys, the billionaires are all seeing a market crash coming. And we just don't know when, but this fall period looks to be a prime time for it to happen. Stay tuned. These guys already have their positions made, which means if they are making their positions now, that means they are expecting something in the next couple of months. Otherwise, they would hold off and not move to gold and silver until later. So they think something is coming this fall, so pay attention. The Lord's coming very soon, and we may see some tribulation as well. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.